Okay, this is Dwayne. Today is Friday, the 5th day of April, 2013. Time now 10:53 a.m. Pacific time. We're waiting for a close below the trend line, and we're going to take a trade in the yen. We're right at the end of today's radio program. I asked the audience to find a market where we had a trade setting up. Zeus found the Japanese yen. He says that looks pretty good. And so what we've done, we've surveyed the landscape. We do have bearish divergence. We do have a bearish cross. We did have a pull away, a pull back, and there's already been some opportunities here after this initial cross. This trade right here, look, if you'd have been in this trade, look at that thing. What a beauty. But we were doing other things. We weren't even looking at this chart when that trade went off, but it would have been the beauty. So we'll see if this one is a beauty. Okay, now the high of this candle is 10,287. 10,287. So if we come down 4 ticks, that's going to be 10,283. And so 10,282 is where I would like to be short this market. Okay, let's see what happens. The low so far, 10,283. The high, 10,287. Is that right? High, 10,287. Low, 10,283. And so I will get short. I'll get triggered in as price comes down, closes below this trend line. I'll get triggered in at 10,282 on a stop. Still have our bearish divergence here. There we go. We're triggered in at 10,282. We're using a bracketed order, so our stop loss was automatically placed for us by the DOM. Our stop loss is at 10,290. This little green line here on the DOM shows you where the low of the day is. So we know that we need to get through this swing low right here. And it just so happens we've got the CFRN SR indicator running. That's these green dots. That shows us where dynamic support is in the market. So the obstacle to our trade at the moment is we've got to get through this swing low, which is also the low of the day, which is also dynamic support based on an algorithm. So we got our work cut out for us. And against that backdrop, we need to see the green line work its way down into the cycle. Okay, the swing low so far has been 10,279. So we've had as much as 3 ticks in the trade so far. We've now got 3 ticks in the trade. Once we get past this low of the day, we will try to get our stop loss down to break even plus a tick. And the plus a tick is so that in the event we are stopped out on the trade, that 1 tick will at least cover our cost of commissions. 4 ticks in the trade so far as we approach dynamic support, the low of the day, and the previous swing low. That's a triple header we got to overcome. Jonathan points out that this is also the low of the last 5 days. All right. Thank you, Jonathan. At least I know what I'm up against. Now, based on all that information, if a person wanted to just take 5 ticks, guess what? You could just take 5 ticks. If you might go, I got to break the low of the day, I got to break the low of 5 days, I got to push through this swing low, I got to push through dynamic support. I'll just take the 5 ticks and go. How would you take the 5 ticks and go? Well, there's a couple ways you could do it. One way you could do it is you could just come over here. And let's see, I need to put in a limit order to get out of the market anyway. So let me just put one in. Okay. So that's my target right now. If price comes down to 10,270, that's where I'll get out of this trade. Okay. Now, if I want to get out like right now with 7 ticks, all I got to do is just left click and push this up to touch price, and it'll take me out. Did you follow that, Jeanette? Jonathan, he goes, what did one trader say to the other trader? Yeah, he says, I wish I'd have took the 5 ticks. Yeah, I know. You're right. No. You didn't follow that, Jeanette? Okay, watch. You see this here? I just put in a buy order. I'm short the market at 10,282. I left clicked, so now I have a target for my trade, okay? And I can left click and move this around. I can go right on up here and get out right now with 4 ticks if I want. I can move, you see, Jeanette, I'm moving this up and down. That's my target on this trade. And if I want to just get out, I can just push this up to 6 ticks. Did you see it? I'm going to show you. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to take the 5. Or 6. Yeah, it needs to trade down to me now. If you left click it, Jeanette, you've got to be in the white column. You left click it. Okay, we got out with 6 ticks. Yeah, it does. Yours did it? Okay, good. All right, beautiful. So we got 6 ticks on the trade, and Jeanette learned how to put in her target and to move it up and down and go get out of that trade. Jonathan says, sweet. Jonathan, thanks for the encouragement from the one trader to another. Now, remember, guys, the reason we chose to exit the trade, now that's a paycheck right there. I don't care what anybody says, 6 tick, that's a paycheck. So anyway, that's not my point. My point is we had a lot of obstacles to the trade. Doesn't mean that the market may not overcome those obstacles, because the Bank of Japan has just said that they're doubling their quantitative easing efforts, which means everyone around the globe expects the yen to trade lower. Okay, but if we go and look up here at this chart earlier today, even though everyone around the world expects the yen to go lower, you certainly didn't want to be short on this move. And so again, what we did, price was banging up against the low of the day, the low of the last 5 days, the previous swing low, that's 3 things, and dynamic support, which is an independent algorithm that doesn't know about the Bank of Japan's quantitative easing or any of that other stuff. So 4 things saying this could be, a bottom here. And so based on that information, we made a decision to exit the trade. We got out with 6 ticks. And what did one trader say to the other trader? Jonathan, what did one trader say to the other trader? I'm glad I did. Okay, anybody have any questions on that? Okay, this was a live real-time trade, so those of you watching this later on the blog, this was done at the end of the radio broadcast, and we're trying to do that here. I've been trying to do it on days when there's something setting up. If there's nothing, like yesterday we looked and there just wasn't anything setting up at the moment, so we didn't have the opportunity to take the trade. Jonathan says he took the 6 ticks as well. Good for you, Jonathan. Okay, Jeanette, then if you need some help with the DOM, let's do this. Let's set up an appointment with you and Leslie, or you and Bert, okay? And Michael will do it as well. It's just his afternoons get a little busy. But let's ask Bert and Leslie if they have some spare time that they, because with 15 minutes, okay, we can do it in a partners meeting, but I don't want you to wait another whole week. But if you just spend 15 minutes on the phone with Bert, I think we can get any questions you have about, the mechanics of the DOM. We can get those cleared up for you. Now, also, Iris, not Iris, I'm sorry, Jeanette. If you go to the, what I call like the control panel of DT Pro, when you first log in, that little square box that pops up at the top, I forget what the tab says, but support or help or something, but if you open that up, there's a link you can click, and it takes you to a PDF out on the internet, and it's a pretty good sized file. It's a couple hundred, well, it's over 100 pages, and there is a chapter that specifically talks about the DOM and all the different functions, and it explains how to use even the fancy stuff that we don't use, like the automatic trailing and the scaling in, the auto scaling in and auto scaling out. This DOM will do all of that stuff. We don't use those functions, but that owner's manual will walk you through step by step. And so maybe if you could read through that, and then if we can get Bert on the phone with you for about 15 minutes, we can get that all. Oh, you've got a hard copy of the PDF? Okay. All right. Well, if you've already read through that, then just go ahead and call. Bert, are you in here right now? Can you type into the chat box, sir, if you are in here at the moment? Hang on, Jeanette. I'm going to see if he's... Are you available right now, Jeanette, to call him, if he's available? Hang on, let me send a text message. Okay, look at this. Look at this trade. It's, well, I mean, we're out of the trade. We took our 6 ticks. But see what it did? It came up. It found resistance here at the CFMA1. Okay, it acted as dynamic resistance. The black line acted as a little bit of resistance. And we're now pinched up between the MA1 and these green dots, this dynamic support at 10,275. If price can break through this level, okay, Jeanette, he is available right now. He said yes. So if you'll call him toll free, 866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. He will be happy to go over the DOM and all the settings and all the different things and answer all your questions. And just hang in there with him until you're comfortable, and then go into the simulator and spend an entire day just putting on and taking off trades. Don't worry about, you know, the P&L because you're in the simulator. Just put on and take off trades every kind of way, long trades, short trades, move your target, all that stuff, until you get 100% comfortable with it. Because once you get comfortable with it, then a lot of that, you know, head stuff will go away. Oh, you know what? Leslie will be happy to help you as well. She'll probably answer the phone, and she's so good with this stuff. So you call her right now, and she'll help you out, okay? See, guys, that's the kind of service you get as a CFRN partner. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, you know, we bring everything to the table that we can, that's possible. We try to under-promise and over-deliver in everything that we do. That really is our goal. Okay, Zeus says there's a nice one in Crude. He also pointed out that we could have traded this again. We didn't. This thing's worked its way all the way down into the cycle, so I'm not really interested. But as you can see, it broke through, okay, and it was held up at 10,275, and it put in a swing low now down at 10,269. So it's moved another 6 ticks, I guess. Is that right? Looks like it. Got a new low of the day, new 5-day low. All right, let's go look at Crude real quick. So we did okay with the yen. Let's see what Crude's got to offer. GCLK. Okay, this would be a long trade. We've got bullish divergence. I'm just looking for a close up above the trend line. I'll need a DOM. My lovely assistant, the DOM. Okay, guys, bullish divergence, a bullish cross, price pulled away from the BBC, price pulled back to the BBC, I've now drawn a trend line. Once we have a close above the trend line, we'll enter the market long. The low of this candle so far is 69. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to be going long, so I'm going to right click to put in an order on a stop. Okay. That's probably not where I'll end up. We'll have to wait and see where I'm actually going to end up entering. Oh, see, the market's moving away from us, so we may not end up having a trade here. Now, this is an order to be filled. Okay, we're not live in the market yet. Once we're live in the market, then you'll see information here about your position. Zeus says the hourly chart is showing resistance. Okay. All right, it's pushing down. Now the black line just worked its way into the green line, so that right there, see this? That's going to negate this trade. Unless it did a huge about face in the next couple seconds, I'm done with this opportunity. Let's see what happens. Oh, see, the black line's riding above the BBC. What are we at? 92.72. See, it hit the MA1. I didn't get filled on that order. It did not get filled. I'm going to cancel all. Okay, so I never got filled. The order, where are we at? 92.74. What's the swing high up here? All right, let's see if we can get up to the swing high. Okay, now Michael would not have taken that trade the way I just took it, but this isn't the live trading room. This is a little different, situation. You guys have hung out here late, and so we're just putting on a trade. It's just another trade. Rich says, Dwayne, I'm unclear on how you measure divergence. Is it via the slingshot indicator? And what on that indicator shows divergence? Okay, good question. Okay, when this blue line is up here and the green line is down here, that's bullish divergence. And yep, we're going to see that. We're probably going to get a real good lesson on why you should follow the rules. You have rules for a reason, okay? But over here, Rich, I want to, okay, see when this red-blue line is down at the bottom and the green line is up at the top, that's bearish divergence. We are expecting the market to trade lower. Over here, we're expecting, and we got knocked out for 8 ticks. Okay, so that's, there you go. An example live on tape of sticking to your rules. Okay, see here on this, Rick, you've got the red line up here, green line down here. So that's bullish divergence. We would anticipate the market to trade higher. Now the cycle's already turned red. There are some purists who only want to take the long trade if the cycle stays blue. See how on this move here, the cycle stayed blue the whole move, and look at that beautiful move. Okay. So could that become one of your criteria? That, you know what? There's so many opportunities in a day. I'm only going to take the ones where the cycle stays blue, or in this case over here, stays red. Because as we can see on this trade right there, the cycle never turned blue and it made for a really nice trade on the downside. Okay. Now maybe you're wondering how come I'm not all rattled, because you've got to learn not to get rattled. It's a work in progress. You've got to separate your emotions from your trading. I mean, we're human, and so we're going to have emotions, and we don't want to be emotionally void. I mean, we want to feel. We want to see with you know, God's eyes and filled with God's heart and all of that stuff. But when it comes to trading, you got to get the emotional stuff out of your head. You got to get the right, you know, I got to be right, or I hate being wrong, or it's not even about that. It's not about right or wrong, okay? It's about having a high probability setup and actually following that and applying your definable edge again and again and again in the market, okay? No, Jerry, we're not going to develop this into an auto trade system. It's just, could it be done? Yeah. Is it a good idea? No. No, we're not going to do that. Okay, now, Rick, did I get your question answered on the divergence? I mean, it's really that simple. Okay, when the blue line's up here and the green line's down here, that's bullish divergence. And when the cycle, the red-blue line, is down here and the green line's up here, that's bearish divergence. Okay, anybody else have any questions? No, Iris, I was not watching the S&P cash today, but I'll take a look at that later. Iris says that on the S&P cash, the 500 cash, there was a 38% fib retracement back to the 50-period moving average on a weekly chart. Okay, all right, Rick, if you need any more help with those, send an email to support@cfrn.net. We'll be happy to help you with it. Okay, is there any other trade setting up, guys? Anything else you want? I got time for one more trade, and then I got to take a break before the coach's corner. So if you see something, I'll go take a look at it real quick. Going once, going twice. Okay, Zeus says we got one on the... Okay, Iris wants to look at the yen again. Zeus wants to look at the Russell. So let's take a peek at both real quick. RL MM3. Actually, Zeus says the yen's fine with him, so we'll go to the yen. Okay. 6J. Come on. Okay, now if we'd have stayed with that trade, you can now, after the fact, we can see that it continued to move. It overcame all the obstacles that we mentioned. I don't see a trade here in the yen, guys. I don't see it. I mean, it's definitely trading lower, and yeah, it's momentum, but yeah, there's no diverge. I'm just not. Yeah, this just wouldn't qualify for me. Just from a personal standpoint of, I would feel like I'm trying to, you know, chase after the market or something. Now, if it'll pull back to the BBC and the green line will come up here, I'd be happy to trade it. I sure would, especially if it pulled back to hit the BBC and what was once dynamic support. When that becomes dynamic resistance, man, that can make for a great trade setup. So that's interesting enough that I will hang out for a minute to see if that comes together. Iris asks, so you don't acknowledge that the red line turned blue and then again red? Actually, if it turned red again here, I mean, that's really a good thing. That speaks in favor of your trade. I just don't have anything to get me to jump in right now. I would personally, I want to see some kind of a pullback, even if it doesn't go all the way to the BBC. If it, you know, I get a couple candles pulling back, trying, and then I've got, you know, I can draw a trend line, and I can at least, and plus I want to get some divergence going. Right, yeah, Davis, we talked about that when we were in the previous trade that we just took right here. We got out here because we were at a 5-day low. We had dynamic support, a 5-day low, a low of the day, and a previous swing low. So we got out with 6 ticks right here. So maybe you weren't here when we were in that trade, so just to bring you up to speed. Because I see your comment there about the yen being at a 5-day low. All right, it's going to happen fairly quick though. It's an interesting trade. I would like to participate in it. Anytime I have an opportunity to trade broken dynamic support or resistance, I'm always interested in those because they make for some pretty good trades. So let's see what we can do. Okay, get a little trend line going on. Get the DOM. Oh, come on. All right, so we need to see this thing. The high is 10,273. So 68, so really 67 is, 67 is where we want to be short. And we're short at 67. Our stop loss, which was automatically placed by the bracket, is up at 10,275. We don't have a target because the yen can, you can catch a runner sometimes. And so we'll establish that target once we get into the trade. That's if we get into the trade, because price is coming up to test that BBC. And if it doesn't do an immediate about face, we're going to get stopped out at 10,275. And that's the truth about trading. You have to become emotionally detached from that. When you were in the trade, it turned blue, so you just pay attention to it then. No, I wasn't paying. Are you talking about this blue line down here, the cycle iris? I have bearish divergence because this is down here and the green line's up here. Yeah, so the fact that it changes color, that didn't play into the trade. What played into the trade was that I had bearish divergence. We already had our bearish cross earlier. Price is moving lower. We pulled back to the BBC. We were able to draw a trend line, and then I just got short on the open of the next, I was attempting to get short on the open of the next candle on the close below the trend line. Now, here's the deal. I should have waited, perhaps, because see that candle closed right at the trend line? I could have waited for an actual close below the trend line. Okay? That's kind of right on top of it. But, I'm in the trade. The fact that we just put in a little gravestone doji here right at the BBC, I don't feel too bad about the trade. Remember, our entry is 10,267. Our stop loss, which was automatically placed for us by the bracket, by the DOM, is at 10,275. We never risk more than 8 ticks on one of these trades. Obstacles to the trade. See the same thing all over again. Where's our obstacle to the trade? Well, that swing low is also the new low of the day and the new 5-day low. All that stuff. Okay? We are trading against broken dynamic support here. I like that. Let's see what the market will make available. Unfortunately, the cycle's climbing pretty fast, and the green line is working its way into the cycle, and so we just have to wait it out. Okay, we're in the trade. We're short from 10,267. Our stop loss is at 10,275. And if the market can take out this swing low, it opens the door for further movement, and we'll manage the trade accordingly. Why did I take the trade? Well, I took the trade because I had some bearish divergence, and I had a pullback to the BBC. I had broken dynamic support, which I love to trade against. When dynamic support or dynamic resistance is broken and price comes back to test it on the other side, if you go back through your charts, you'll see that that makes for some very good, very high probability trade setups. So that's why I took the trade. If we can just get a push down to this swing low, I'll be happy to take that. Let me get an order in here, okay, that will get me out of the trade. Okay, so I've got I just put an order in to buy the market, because that's how I get out, because I'm short. So in order to get out of this trade, I've got to buy. I sold the market, and now to get out, I need to become a buyer. Okay. So once it comes back down a little bit, gets near this swing low, if that's what it does, I'll be looking to get out of this thing probably around 10,260. Let's just go ahead and put our, let's go put it right there at 10,260. I'm going to go 10,261. Okay. And there we go. We got another 6 ticks. So now we're up 12 ticks on the yen. But we took an 8 tick stop out on the crude, so that makes us net 4 points. So 3 trades are 4 ticks. So 3 trades were net 4 ticks. We had a trade that went for 6 ticks. We had a trade that got stopped out for 8 ticks, the full boat, because I never had an opportunity to move my stop to break even plus a tick. And now we took this one and we got out at 6 ticks again because we were pushing up against a 5-day low. Could we have managed it differently? Could we have just hung with it and rode it out? Sure. You always are going to be faced with choices and decisions. But because I got to wrap things up here, I was able to take a negative situation where we were up 6 and then down 8, so we're at a -2. Now we just put another 12 on here. So let's see. That's new math, right? Okay, we were, what were we? We were plus 6, and then we were down 8, so that made us -2. Then we added another 6. So, no, that's not right. We're up 12 ticks in the yen and down 8 ticks in crude, so that's positive 4 ticks. Dwayne, don't confuse yourself. It's just addition and subtraction. Oh, do I still have an active stop? Oh, you know what, Francis? Wow, great call, my friend. You see this up? Oh, Rick just put it in too. You see this, guys? Had they not said something, I'd closed up shop, walked away from my desk, went on break, and had the market rallied up. What was supposed to be my stop loss would have gotten triggered in as a long trade. So how do I correct that? I simply go right here to cancel all, and there we go. Thank you guys for pointing that out and for reminding me. Okay, so 2 nice yen trades and a crude trade that I probably shouldn't have taken, but I did. And so, all right, any final questions? I got 30 minutes for break before the coach's corner. If you're on a free trial and you want information on being a partner, just send an email to support@cfrn.net. If you're just hanging out here from the radio show and you've never taken the free trial and you really want to, then send an email, or no, go to cfrn.net/apply. cfrn.net/apply, and then just fill it out and we'll send you all the information. Okay? Check your spam box or your bulk folder, because sometimes it doesn't go to your inbox the way it should. You might have to hunt around for it. And if you don't find it, send an email to support@cfrn.net. If you've already taken the free trial and life happened, or you just weren't that into us, you know, you weren't sure if we had anything or not, so you didn't really pay attention, or you didn't download the platform, you didn't install the indicators, well, shame on you. But we serve a God of second chances, and so therefore I have to be a man of second chances. We are the second chance people. So if you fall into that category, now you can't abuse the free trial thing. I mean, that's just not fair, okay? Not only not to us, but to others who come to take the free trial for the first time, and they really are, they want to pay attention. We have limited space, but they really want to, learn. But we're spending time with you, and you're, on your fourth. Because I'm not saying we won't let you have another free trial. I'm just saying you need to make a good case for yourself. If you've taken the free trial more than once, okay, I don't know. We'll talk about it. I'm not saying no. I'm saying we will have a conversation about it. If you've only taken the free trial one time, and it's been, whatever. If you've only taken it once, and you want to take it again, it really won't even be an issue. Just send an email to support@cfrn.net and say, hey, here's my story. I'm sticking to it because it's the truth. Can I have another free trial? And we'll give you one. So had we hung with this, price continued to move in a southerly direction. Okay? But we didn't. So we're not going to lament. We're not going to spend the afternoon going, oh man, I should have stayed in that trade. I'm weak, Don't trash talk yourself. Stinking thinking, man. Oh, it's like a cancer. It eats you up from the inside out. Don't do it. Okay. All right. Any final questions? Now, I did record all of this video and audio, so it'll be on the blog tonight or over the weekend. So anybody that wants to go through and watch these trades again, you can do that. Hey, thank you so much, Bill. Bill says, have a great weekend with those precious gifts of God. Yeah, made official this week. This week, this came to me today, this week, man finally recognized what God ordained years ago with these kids. So, yeah. Thank you very much. To all of you, I got so many emails and calls and text messages and well-wishes. Anyway, thank you all. I really do appreciate it. It meant a lot to me to be standing there in the little hallway outside the courtroom and my phone's going ding, 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 and you guys are thinking about me and thinking about the kids. And I'll say this about the whole kid thing. You go read your Bible. The heart of God, religion, pure and undefiled before God, is to care for orphans and widows in their affliction. Now, I'm telling you, it's truly the heart of God, and you study some of the scriptures surrounding that. I don't know that there's too many things more important to God than that, and the scripture backs up what I'm saying. Now, often when we hear the term orphan or widow, we think about people in Africa. Well, because that's what we see on TV. And, I understand that because my wife and I, we were involved. We built an orphanage there, Pastor Chris, you guys know the story. So that's what jumps to most Americans' mind when they hear orphan and widow is, somebody in Africa. But I can almost guarantee you that there is an orphan and a widow living on your street, maybe right next door to you. If a woman has a child and the father of that child, which in some cases may be the husband of that woman and other times not. See, anybody can make a baby. Anybody, how does that go? Anybody can, I don't know, something about, you know what I'm talking about. You can be a sperm donor and, create a child, but can you be a father? There's some more elegant way of saying that. But my point is on the street where you live, chances are there's orphans and widows. In other words, a single mom trying to raise her kids because it may be a situation where, the husband was tragically taken, but most likely it's just, a situation where the father, chose not to live up to the responsibilities of fatherhood, to care for the woman and to care for the child. And so from a biblical sense and a biblical perspective and to the letter of the word and the Webster definition, are those people, is that woman truly a widow? She is. Is that child truly an orphan? He is. Okay? An orphan is a child who has lost one or both parents. Some people go, well, he's not an orphan, he's still got a mom. Yeah, but go look it up in the dictionary. An orphan is a child who has lost one or both parents. So that child has been orphaned by his father, and so you can play an important, you don't have to go. Now, I said earlier that religion, this is scripture, religion pure and undefiled before God is to care for orphans and widows in their affliction. You don't have to go to Africa to do that. Most of us can walk down the street and minister to a widow and to an orphan. Now, obviously, you do it a little bit differently here than when you go on a mission trip to Africa. You know, that kid down the street, he just might need somebody to go down to the park and throw the ball with him. You know, maybe he doesn't have a positive male role model in his life. Now, the situation could be flipped. It could be a single dad raising a kid, you know, and that child has no positive female role model in their life. You know, you could be that person, okay? Think about it. When you go to church on Sunday, there's lots of moms there with kids, and you're like, well, where's Dad? Well, Dad's not around. So, you know, and I know that sometimes it's because of divorce, and maybe the dad just lives across town or in another state, or, you know, every situation is unique and different. But is it possible for you to do the very thing God called you to do, the thing that's so near and dear to his heart, without getting on an airplane? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would say that that is every bit as important. Okay? Because those orphans and widows tend to get overlooked and neglected. There's nobody on TV crying trying to raise money for them. They're forgotten. So, I didn't mean to bum you out. Actually, I was trying to encourage you. So, I love you guys. Thanks for being a part of my life. You'll never, ever know how much you've all meant to me. Okay. Thank you, Skip. Thanks, RG. Thanks, Rick. Okay, that's it, guys. I'll get this video posted this afternoon, tonight, over the weekend. I'm still working on my taxes, so I will get it up this weekend. And then if you have any questions about anything we covered today or questions in general, as always, send an email to support@cfrn.net. I'll be back top of the hour with Miss Robin Dane, the Traders Coach, for this Friday edition. I think it's episode number 15 of the Coach's Corner. It is the weekend, so please spend some quality time with your family. Of course, I'll see you all in church on Sunday. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.